Life in the bustling city often teaches people to move fast, to chase success, and to not look back. Among the tall glass buildings and the endless noise of ambition lived a young man named Rehan. He came from a modest background, a place where dreams were often crushed under the weight of necessity. But Rehan's heart was different. He carried a fire, a hunger to prove that no matter where you start, you can create something extraordinary. Rehan had grown up in a small town where his father worked in a small mechanic shop. The income was never enough, but his father always reminded him of one thing: you can lose money but never lose courage. Those words stayed with him even when life seemed to strip everything else away. At the age of 18, Rehan moved to the city with little more than a worn-out bag and a few hundred rupees in his pocket. The city was merciless. He worked odd jobs, cleaning tables in a tea stall, carrying heavy loads in the market, and sometimes going hungry when the money didn't stretch far enough. But every night when others went to sleep, Rehan would sit by a dim street light with a borrowed book, teaching himself about business, discipline, and growth. One evening, exhausted from work, Rehan saw a boy crying outside the market. The boy had been selling balloons but lost all his earnings when a stronger boy snatched his coins and ran. Rehan didn't have much money himself, but he gave the boy half of what he had earned that day. The boy's eyes lit up and he whispered, "One day, I'll be like you, kind and strong." That moment planted a seed in Rehan's heart. The belief that success isn't only about wealth, it's about impact. Years passed, and Rehan continued to push himself. He learned tailoring and soon started stitching clothes for locals. He saved every bit he could, refusing to spend on luxuries. But success never comes without trials. His first small shop burned down in a fire, leaving him with nothing but ashes and disappointment. Many told him to give up and go back home, but Rehan remembered his father's words. He took a deep breath and said to himself, "If the fire has taken away my work, I'll create a fire inside me that no one can extinguish." He borrowed a sewing machine from a friend and started over in a small rented room. This time, he worked harder, smarter, and with more determination. Slowly, his reputation grew. People admired not just his skill, but his honesty. He never cheated a customer, never compromised on quality, and always treated people with respect. By the age of 28, Rehan had expanded his small tailoring service into a clothing brand. He wasn't just stitching clothes anymore. He was stitching hope into people's lives by employing young men and women who had once been unemployed and hopeless like him. One day, he hired a young boy to help in the shop. To his surprise, it was the same boy who had once sold balloons in the market. The boy looked at him and said, "I told you I wanted to be like you." Rehan smiled, realizing how life had come full circle. But success had a new test for him. A large company once tried to crush his business by copying his designs and selling them at lower prices. Many of his customers were tempted to leave. Rehan faced sleepless nights, wondering if this was the end. But instead of giving up, he adapted. He introduced new designs, built stronger relationships with his customers, and offered value no competitor could match: genuine care. Months later, the same company went out of business, while Rehan's shop thrived more than ever. His secret? He never sold just clothes. He sold trust, resilience, and inspiration. With time, Rehan became financially successful, but he never forgot his roots. Every year, he went back to his small hometown and donated to the mechanics shop, schools, and poor families. People admired him not only as a businessman, but as a man of heart. One evening, standing on the rooftop of his office, looking at the glowing city lights, Rehan thought of his journey. From a boy with a torn bag to a man who created a legacy, it wasn't the money that defined him, but the courage to rise after every fall. And his message was simple: your beginnings do not define your ending. Your struggles are not your chains. They are the very wings that will lift you. You don't fail when you fall, you fail only when you refuse to rise. No matter how dark your starting point may seem, resilience, hard work, and kindness can turn ashes into gold. Success is not just about earning money, but about creating value, lifting others, and leaving a mark that outlives you. This was Motivoons. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more life-changing stories.